All of this is happening as the U.S. is experiencing a rise in tensions in the region. Over the weekend, a U.S. Navy destroyer shot down 3 drones after Iranian-backed Houthi rebels launched missile strikes on several commercial ships in the Red Sea. CBS News national security correspondent David Martin joins us now from the Pentagon. So, David, what more do we know about this?
Well, this is one of the unintended consequences of the war between Israel and Hamas. It has now spread into the Red Sea, where these Houthi rebels, Iranian-backed rebels based in Yemen, have been firing missiles at commercial ships, and they have warned that they will attack commercial ships which they believe are somehow connected to Israel. And what happened yesterday is that there were 3 commercial ships that got hit by anti-ship missiles. An American destroyer, the USS Carney, responded to their calls for distress, and in the process detected drones headed in its direction and shot down 3 of those drones, although it's not clear that the Carney was the target. These shoot-downs usually occur at a distance of about 8 miles, so that the drones were still somewhere way away, and you can't be sure that what was the target. As for the commercial ships, there was some damage to the ships, but no casualties. Still, the Pentagon calls this a threat to international commerce, and so the question is, what is the U.S. going to do about it?
Yeah, David, that is the question. The phrase that keeps recurring is Iranian-backed militias, Iranian-backed. It seems to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, if Iran itself directly attacked a U.S. warship or commercial boats in the region, the response would be pretty severe from the U.S., up to and including strikes on Iran. But with this Iranian-backed attack, things get really muddy really quickly. What does that phrase mean to you, or practically? How does the Pentagon understand it?
Well, it's an Iranian attempt to deny what the Pentagon views as its ultimate responsibility for these attacks, since Iran arms, trains, funds, and encourages these attacks. But the Houthis are a little more independent than some of the other militias, and sort of much more radical. They don't have enough missiles to, for instance, be a real threat to Israel. But they have enough missiles to harass shipping in the Red Sea, and that is a choke point as ships go to and from the Suez Canal out into the Indian Ocean or the Mediterranean Sea. So the options really are, at least in the near term, is one, start escorting commercial ships. Now, the U.S. has that one ship, the Carney, that's there, but one destroyer cannot escort all of the ships that pass through those waters, and the U.S. doesn't want to get stuck with the job of escorting all ships by itself. So one of the things that's happening right now is that the Pentagon is looking for other navies who would participate in an escort operation. The other option, of course, is to conduct airstrikes against the sites from which these missiles are being fired. But that, of course, would widen the war. And one of the Biden administration's primary objectives here is not to let that war between Israel and Hamas engulf the rest of the Middle East.
David, before we let you go, I want to ask about another development. Remains from the U.S. military aircraft that crashed last week were discovered off the coast of Japan over the weekend. What more are we learning about these recovery efforts?
Well, the Air Force Special Operations Command, which owned that particular aircraft, the Osprey, says it has now located the main fuselage, along with the remains of 5 additional members of the 8-person crew that was on board when it crashed. 2 of those bodies have now been recovered, and a third had been found just within hours of the crash when it happened last week. So they are making progress, but obviously the grim process of finding and identifying the dead is still underway.
All right, David Morton for us at the Pentagon. David, thank you very much.
Sure.